Today I want to talk to you about the necessity of having an independent thinking approach and not to delegate to others the thinking. Why do I say that? Is because I often see people that become shadows of others instead of being inspired by others to start their own journey. They become simply followers. Now, this is okay for the initial part of your journey of independent thinker, but it is not at all okay to do that all your life. And I see people doing it all their life, and I think it's such a misery, because if one does not think, he does not exist. Cogito ergo sum, Cartesio says, Descartes. So I think it's something that we have not yet fully digested it, because we have been trained through the course of centuries to just follow leaders, which is, on matters of conscience, is just wrong. It's wrong, and it makes the human being not having any form of divine identity. See, humans have not been created to be followers. Humans have been created to be leaders, first of all, of themselves. So if you are not able to lead yourself, you can't lead anybody else. You can't lead anybody else. And if you lead yourself, then you will understand also how to follow, because you will know what the leader actually means, if he means you're good or not. So where is the key to this mechanism? The key is the discernment of good and evil. The discernment of good and evil has to be personal, not collective. If this is personal, then I decide what is good and what is evil by myself from within. Now, this can be acquired through a vertical relationship, definitely, but not through the horizontal leadership structure. What do I say by that? You see, when you listen to a person and then you think that everything the person said is right or is good, then think twice, because there are no human beings which everything they say is right. So listen to all things, study all things, investigate all things, and retain the good. So it's important that you acquire that sensibility, that ability to detect what is true and what is not, to detect what is good and what is not, to detect what is beneficial and what is not, what is useful for you in that given circumstance and what is superfluous in that moment. It's the ability of thinking and determining, or let's say the ability to do wise choices, into determining what should be done, said, or written in a certain time and space in that given circumstances. It is called wisdom. And I think this wisdom is enormously lacking because people don't seek it. People don't even know it exists. And that's why they don't seek it. So you should actually be able to detect truth or good even from your worst enemy. If you're able to see that and to divide the wrong from the right, it doesn't matter who says it. It can be evil itself saying things, but even if evil itself speaks, I'm talking anthropomorphically, you should be able to divide and discern what is right that he said and what is wrong that he said, and for which reason it is wrong. For wrong is a wrong perception of reality. This is what the word actually sin means, very used in our society. The word sin means missing the point, missing the aim. Okay, so it is a distorted perception of reality, a reality who does not catch the right aim. So we need to determine why it is distorted. What is at the core of that? What is at the base of that? Usually it is always the situation of a person thinking to be something that he's not, or in the most generic term, sin comes out in situations when the person thinks to be God, and forgets his true identity as a creature. So when you forget who you are, this perception of reality becomes distorted, and you think to be God. You start acting and talking from a different perspective, and therefore you do things that are wrong. You do things that are wrong to yourself, to others, and that's what is called sin. Okay, so I think it's important, if we study all people and we retain the good, and that we learn how to determine what is good and what is not. I wish that this might be so in all fields of life, in relationships, in politics, in religion, in spirituality, in all forms of social life. But remember that in order for us to acquire that sensibility, it's important that we get a relationship with the source of that perception of wisdom, let's say, the source of wisdom. And that is a vertical process. It's not an horizontal process. You won't find wisdom that can be conveyed from one person to another. You can find information that can be conveyed from one person to another, but wisdom is different. Wisdom is a capacity. Wisdom is not an information. And so that capacity has to be coming from a spiritual world, not from a human world. And my wish it is that we might all seek for that, and that we might become finally thinkers independently. For if we don't think, we don't exist. And I wish that you might exist. I wish that you might see reality as that wisdom will tell you how to see it, instead of adopting a copy and paste process from others. Copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. But then when you're faced with a gray area where you don't know what to choose, and all people you ask around yourself give you contradictory opinions, one says one thing, another says another thing, you don't know who to trust anymore, then it's time to start asking the spiritual dimension what you should do. For the foreknowledge of that spiritual dimension is exactly fitting your life and your situation, while other people, they don't necessarily know what are the exact circumstances and the exact situation that you are faced with. So my wish it is that you, instead of looking for human sources, for human sources are not the source, they are reflectors of the source. And it's good to receive some light from each person that reflects some light, but go directly to the light and ask and inquire and search and investigate yourself to find out these precious things for life.